know what, this fanfic writing thing, I think I'm actually kind of good at it. Hi, I'm Claudia, and at this point I think I can officially call myself a fanfic writer. I've been consistently writing and posting fanfiction on AO3 since January of this year, so that's like 8 months, which I feel like is enough to call me a writer, maybe? So I'm making this video to kind of like talk about my experiences in writing fanfiction in case you want to write fanfiction but you want to know what it's like first. Obviously that is not to say I haven't written any fanfiction in the past, it just has all been taken down and it wasn't like the best thing I've ever written. Little bit backstory, I wrote a fanfic on Wattpad that I started in like December of 2022 and then I finished in July of 2023. That has been since taken down. The only reason that fanfic wasn't written on AO3 was because when I started it, I genuinely did not have an AO3 account yet, which I think tells you like how long ago this was. I was 17 when I started and then 18 when I finished because my birthday fell right in the middle, but it was like a fun experience even though it wasn't like the best writing in the world. And then I posted a different fic on AO3 that I wrote I think about 6 chapters for before I just gave up. I abandoned it and then I eventually took the fic down after I'd gone like a year without posting a single thing or like writing anything to do with it. If like a bunch of people had been like asking for a new chapter, then maybe I would have finished it, but like no one was. No one really was reading it or anything, so I felt comfortable enough to take it down without like hurting anyone's feelings, I guess. The last chapter of that fic that I'd written, I posted in December of 2023, and then I took the entire fic down in December of 2024, so a year later. And then I posted my first fic, which is still up, in January of 2025. And as of recording this right now, I've written 4 one-shots and 1 multi-chapter fic, all of which are still up on AO3. I'll be giving like brief descriptions of them in this video, so if you want to read any of them, there'll be a link to my AO3 profile in the description. So before posting my first one-shot, I had spent over a year not writing any form of fanfiction. And originally I didn't think I was ever going to go back to it, but I got this idea and it was sitting in my brain for ages and I thought, you know what, no one else is going to write this because it's such a niche idea, I've got to write it. And even after I decided I was going to write it, it still took me a couple of weeks to start because I kept putting it off, being like, no one's going to read it, so like who cares what time I write it at, like who cares, I can wait another week. But then eventually I was like, this has gone on for too long, I'm just going to write it, even if no one reads it, I'm not going to care because at least I've written it, you know? And so I wrote this 3,000 word one shot and posted it thinking, no one's probably going to read it, and then I was very surprised to see that quite a few people actually read it. Like, it was by no means a lot of people that were reading this fic, but to me it was like more than I had imagined, so I thought, okay, people actually are enjoying my writing. That first fic I wrote was a buddy one-shot based on the finale of Gavin and Stacey, which is so niche, and I called that one shot I Already Did. If you don't know, Gavin and Stacey is a very popular BBC show. It's very British. It started in 2007. I believe they did 3 seasons in the original run, and then they've done 2 Christmas specials since then. The first one being in 2019, which did really, really well, which then meant they did another one in 2024, 5 years later. And they kind of had to do another one because the first one ended on a cliffhanger, and originally they said they weren't going to do it and everyone could just like take the cliffhanger how they wanted, but then they just did another one anyway. It's probably most famous for having James Corden in it. He's also one of the writers of it. It's one of the few things that Britain is proud of James Corden for doing, because he also like created and produced it alongside Ruth Jones, who is also in the show. There was also like an American version done, I think in like the mid 2010s, but it did not do very well. It was not very good. Like, don't even bother looking it up, it was awful. But anyway, I'm not a massive fan of the show, but my parents are, so we all watched the Christmas special on Christmas Day. And in the Christmas special, which was also the series finale, there was this one scene which was like the most talked about scene. So for the next like week, this scene was all over social media. I kept seeing it all the time, and then at one point I watched it and I thought, hold on, I could make this into Buddy. And then I did, and people read it, and there were people commenting being like, I'm a Gavin and Stacey fan and I love this, and I was like, yes, this is what I was going for. So after I wrote that fic, I kind of gained a bit of confidence in fanfic writing, but I still didn't write anything for like the next 2 months. February was just like a very busy month for me, so I just didn't write anything then. And then 911 came back after the mid-season break. Also, there will be spoilers for 911 in this video, so just like, if you don't want them, don't watch this video, go watch something else. So season 8 returns and we start up again, and we find out that Buck is moving into Eddie's house. Me, as a buddy shipper, went insane at this news and therefore wrote a one-shot. So I wrote another one-shot, and this one was much shorter. I think it's like just over 1,000 words, and this one was called The World Ended When It Happened to Me. That song was like very popular on TikTok at the time. And the basic plotline is Eddie's helping Buck pack up all his stuff to move into Eddie's house, and during that process, Eddie realises he's in love with Buck. And this fic got like quite a few more hits and kudos than my first one, presumably because Gavin and Stacey is just so niche, but like it also just could have been because this one was like more like relevant at the time. Like I specifically put in the description of the fic that it was about season 8 episode 9, which had like just come out, so maybe that was something to do with it. But it was a little bit angsty and people really liked it, so I gained more and more confidence, and I was like, you know what, this fanfic writing thing, I think I'm actually kind of good at it. And then a few more weeks go by and I'm going through season 8 of 911 as it comes out, and then we get to season 8 episode 15. I'm not going to talk about the contents of that episode, but just know it was traumatizing to me, okay? And that kind of dulled the fanfic writing urge for a couple of weeks until we got to season 8 episode 17, when Eddie said the iconic line, "The trials and tribulations of Evan Buckley, a tragedy in 97 acts." Now originally this did not inspire a fanfic at all, but in other parts of the episode, we see that Eddie is staying at Buck's house when he was there for Bobby's funeral. I say Buck's house, it's technically Eddie's house that Buck is renting from him, but you know what I mean. And my brain just thought, what is Eddie doing all day when Buck is on shift and he is just sat in this house? So I made a one-shot about it. Basically, Eddie is trying to repay Buck for basically letting him stay in his house, so he starts cleaning the house for Buck. So he tries to tidy up all of Buck's paperwork because he like doesn't have a system, and he ends up finding a bunch of letters that Buck wrote to Maddie when she left for college. And then at the bottom, Eddie finds a letter addressed to himself, and then that kind of spirals from there. And I'm not going to say any more, but you can probably guess what happens. And this fic originally had a completely different title that I can't even remember now. But when I was writing the fic, I wanted there to be like a specific number of letters in this drawer, and I wanted it to kind of come across that Eddie's counted them all because that's how much he cares about Buck. Obviously that is not explicitly said, but that's kind of what I was trying to like convey. And originally I picked like 94 because I wanted there to be a lot, but I didn't want there to be like too much. And then I thought about it and I was like, why does 90 sound so familiar? And then I remembered A Tragedy in 97 Acts. So I changed the number to 97, made the title A Tragedy in 97 Acts, and decided the whole fic's purpose was going to be the reason why Eddie said A Tragedy in 97 Acts and not some other random number. And people loved it. It was very angsty, and like a couple of people were begging me for a part 2, which I was originally going to do because I thought they would bring Bobby back from the dead, but we're not going to talk about that. I actually started the second chapter of it before season 8 episode 18 came out, and then the episode came out and I was like, you know what, no, we're not doing this. Maybe in the future I'll finally write that chapter 2, but at the minute I have no plans to.
Hi, Editing Claudia here, just to let you know, I have decided to finally write the chapter 2 of this fanfic, so it won't be coming like super soon, but look out for it in the near future.
Anyway, this is my third fic I've posted. Each one has done like better than the last. I'm feeling very confident, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna start a multi-chapter fic rather than just doing one-shots. So I wrote like the first 2 chapters of this multi-chapter fic and then only posted the first one because I kind of wanted there to be like a bit of a backlog so no one's waiting that long. That lasted about 3 days, at which point I got bored of waiting to post chapter 2 and just wanted people to see it, and then everyone had to wait like a week for chapter 3. Anyway, the fic is called Everything Has Changed, and it's based on the song Everything Has Changed by Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran. Basically, Eddie moves to El Paso and Buck realizes he's in love with him, and it's the whole process of like telling Eddie and then going to visit Eddie, and it's a lot of fun. It's very fluffy. It's only 5 chapters, so it's not like super long, and it's only like 6,000 words, but I still love it, and it's got a special place in my heart as my first multi-chapter fic. It didn't do as well as A Tragedy in 97 Acts, mainly because for a long time it was obviously incomplete and a lot of people don't read work in progress fics. But people enjoyed it, and people, like, shockingly to me, subscribed to it so they would be notified when there was a new chapter, and I was like, oh my god, people care about my writing that much? Like, that was something that me from last year could only have dreamed of, you know? So I finished that fic in like mid-June, and then I take another month break from writing fanfiction because, you know, 911's off for the summer, so I'm like, I have no ideas at the minute anyway. And then I was listening to my playlist and I was listening to You Belong With Me by Taylor Swift, and I thought, actually, I do have an idea for a fic. I still waited to write it because I was like going on holiday and doing stuff with my family because, you know, it was like holiday time, so I just didn't write any fanfics. But then literally 2 days ago, as I am filming this, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna finally sit down and write it, and I spent like 5 hours just writing this 3,000 word one shot. The basic plot is the 118 plus Karen and Athena go to karaoke night, and Buck's been dropping hints to Eddie that he's in love with him for like ages. Eddie hasn't got it, so Buck just decides to sing You Belong With Me by Taylor Swift to Eddie to try and get his point across. It's a very fun fic. I had a lot of fun writing it, especially because I got to like put all the song lyrics in, and then there's like breaks in the lyrics where you find out like what Buck and Maddie are doing on stage because they're singing it as a duet because, you know, why not? And then I didn't post it the day I wrote it because I finished it at like 10 p.m. and I was like, no, I need like a couple of days to check on my grammar and spelling and all that kind of thing. And then yesterday I posted a new video, so I was focusing on that. So then today I finally did all like the grammar and spelling checks and a couple of edits. And then I posted it literally about 2 hours ago as I'm filming this. So I do not know what the response to this fic will be yet, but I'll put some stats on screen if I have any of them, or maybe I'll do a little voiceover-y bit.
Hi, me again, editing Claudia. The fic's been like pretty well received. People seem to really enjoy it. It's like a lot fluffier than my other one shot, so I wasn't sure how people would feel about it, but people seem to really like it, which is quite good.
But I really hope people enjoy it because it's not like super angsty like other stuff I've written, but it's still got like a little sprinkling of angst, just no like deep angst. It's a lot of fun. It's like the whole gang together at karaoke night. Maddie and Buck do a little duet on stage. It was a lot of fun for me to write and to like picture in my head. Does that make sense? I don't know if this is just a me thing, but when I am writing fanfiction, I do tend to picture the scenes in my head to make sure they kind of like make logical sense. But like I've always done that with whatever I'm reading, so maybe it's just a me thing, who knows? But because I had the idea for this fic like a month ago, I already had most of it like planned out in my head anyway. So it was easier than some of the other one-shots to write because I already had like a generally good idea of where it was gonna go. But the most fun thing was like doing stuff with like the background characters, so like the rest of the 118. So I was like, yeah, Maddie and Chim sing Irons in the Stream, and there's like a once per night rule that's been instated since they sang it a bunch of times one time. And Hen and Karen are going to do a duet to a 90s pop song that Buck doesn't really know. In my head they sing If You Want to Be My Lover by the Spice Girls, which to me is just a bit iconic. And then I have Bobby singing some like 80s love song that I haven't like picked a specific song for, but it's like for Athena, and I'm like, that's so cute, and I'm like, let them be happy because they're not in canon. And then I decided Ravi's favourite go-to karaoke song would be 1,000 Miles because you know what? Iconic. Also, am I saying Ravi's name right? Please someone tell me, because I've only ever heard it in like an American accent, so I'm like, is it Ravi or Ravi or what? Because I'm British and I also have a southern pronunciation and I'm really struggling here. I just don't want to pronounce his name wrong because that feels disrespectful, but I also don't know how to pronounce it, so if someone could tell me, that'd be great. But for now we're just going to stick with Ravi because that's kind of what I've always said. Also, yes, I was destroyed when we found out he's not a main for season 9. Like, the gall of the producers to not make him a main for season 9. I can't get angry right now. I can't talk about this right now because I get so angry. But back to this fic, in the background I also put like a bachelorette party that's just at the karaoke bar and like vibing to all the songs the 118 is singing. And also after Buck and Maddie sing You Belong With Me, there's like a bit where Buck and Eddie are standing outside the bar, but inside the bar Karen and Ravi are doing a duet to Shake It Off, which I just think is great. I'm now pushing my Karen and Ravi besties agenda. This didn't exist before like 2 days ago, but now I'm like, no, icons. Also like Karen and Eddie, Maddie and Eddie, give me canon Maddie and Eddie relationship, please. I also have another fic planned where Maddie and Eddie get petty with Tommy, and I think it's going to be so fun to write, but I'm probably not going to write it for a bit. But anyway, that brings us to today, where I write fanfic semi-regularly. I am kind of confident in my ability to write fanfic, and people read what I write, which to me is still so crazy to think about. So if you've ever read any one of my fics, thank you. And again, if you want to check them out, I'll link my AO3 profile in the description. They are all body at the minute. I do have plans for some upstairs Chicago PD fics, but at the minute, all my fics that are currently posted are buddy and 911. If you have a specific question about fanfic writing or one of my fanfics that you've read, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, I do have to do the kind of awkward and cringy YouTuber thing and ask you to like the video and maybe subscribe. I post a bunch of fanfic / fandom related videos, so if you like this one, you'll probably like some of my other stuff. There'll also be a link down below where you can follow me on Twitter, which is @claudiabutworse. And there'll also be a link to my TikTok account where I post new fanfic related TikToks literally every single day. So if you enjoy that kind of thing, you'll probably like my TikTok stuff. So yeah, I've been Claudia. I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll hopefully see you all soon. Bye! I need to go write some more fanfics.